Hi everyone, welcome to Global Leadership Interview Series, How to Create a Life Worth Living. My name is Evrim Numanoğlu Özgen. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Institute of Global Leadership based in the UK. We are an organization developing leadership and providing virtual leadership classes. And my guest today is such a special guest, Christopher Hooker. Chris Hooker. Chris is a center owner and the owner of Next Level in Ohio. It is also a transformational leadership training center. And Chris is also transformational leadership trainer for the first level, which we call as Discovery. He is an entrepreneur. He is an inventor. He's a dad, a husband, and amazingly fun person. And I get to share this. Something really special about Chris is that he is the trainer of our first leadership class at IGL of level 1, which is starting on 30th of October. So welcome, Chris. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm extremely excited to get started in just a few weeks with you guys. It's been coming for quite a while now, but it's getting closer and closer, and soon.
Yes, it is absolutely happening. It's very soon, and we are so excited as well. So, Chris, well, I mean, about this topic of leadership, that is the training that you're giving, right? So it is days and weeks of topic. It's the lifestyle, as we know. And one of the things I truly admire at you as a leader, as a trainer, as a coach, as a mentor, I'm learning a lot from you, is how to respond to changes. That is an incredibly valuable skill that we learn at these classes, at these leadership programs, and you are living it like so real. And I've seen, you know, what you have created during COVID. Actually, you improved things amazingly and created new possibilities. So can you please talk about what it means for leaders to adapt to change, to manage change?
Sure, yeah. So when the world changes around you, right, which is, I mean, it's always changing around you. So the skill of adapting to change is a critical, valuable skill in life in general. But when the whole world is changing at the same time, like has happened recently with the pandemic and other events, but when there's a big paradigm shift or sea change like that, even to stay still, you got to be moving, right? The world's shifting around you, so you got to be in motion. And one of the skills that we practice and teach and learn in transformation is in the name itself, transformation, change. And in order to continue to navigate the situations, you have to change yourself, or more change how you're operating. You know, we all have an operating system for how we respond to situations in the world, and most of our operating systems, you know, our mindsets, are built around the way things have been. And generally speaking, they stay pretty stable. Tomorrow looks a lot like today, most of the time. But when there's a big upset and everything is changed, you have to start adapting. Now, most people become attached to who they are and the way they are. So the way they operate in the world is a habit. We're an accumulation of a bunch of habits. How we interact, you know, our morning ritual is a habit. What we order when we go to a restaurant is a habit. How we interact with our spouses and our children's is a habit. How we react to upsets is a habit. And so we've got all these habits, all these attachments, and when things stay the same, they continue to work the same. But suddenly the situation changes. You got to look at your strategies and ways, all these different habits, and are they now working in the new situation? If we're attached to the way we've always been, we get stuck. And then in situations like that, people get buried by the change. The change becomes a big problem. And they don't know how to adapt, and they're trying to apply the same strategies they used before in a new situation. So what is really available through this work is learning to not be attached to the way you are. The way you are is very malleable. Most people think it's fixed, like this is the way I am. But you can change the way you are. Virtually every facet of your persona is evolvable based on your choices. So you can make new choices to evolve yourself in different ways to handle different situations more effectively. And in fact, in a situation like the pandemic, one of the things that also in transformation is instead of seeing what's lost when things change, to see the new possibilities. And so, like
Yeah.
you said, we've actually made things better during the pandemic, because what's happened is like all these new constraints put on actually created new possibilities for creativity. And so instead of focusing on what we couldn't do anymore, we're like, well, what can we still do? And can we do this, better? Can we enhance this and actually leverage Zoom? Like, how can we use Zoom to our benefit rather than like try to do what we used to do only now on Zoom? Let's actually like design something from the ground up to leverage these things. So there's opportunities in all these obstacles. And what we learn in this work is, instead of getting frozen and then going into a victim mentality of, oh, woe is me, things aren't the same, I wish they would stay the same. Well, they never do. And so given that they don't, what can we do now? And not only does this create better results, it feels, the experience of it's much more liberating, because you're focused on possibility instead of the loss. Yeah. So it not only creates better results, creates a better experience of it too. You're having more fun while you're doing it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, there's a lot of gem there, right? So the outside world, in fact, always changes. Like, we experience that, but in life there are things like COVID-19 which are completely unexpected. And I love what you said, instead of being the victim of new circumstances, as leaders we create. And this also, I want to mention this to our audience. If you haven't watched the previous interviews, please go and watch, because in one of the previous interviews with Michael Strassner, we talked about having a vision. And what I heard while you were talking, Chris, what I'm also hearing is, like, if you have a vision as a leader, outside environment changes, but you know where you're going, and then you find a way to make it happen. And it can be a better way than the previous one when you are open to possibilities. So
right,
that's
that reminds me of what has to be my favorite quote, which I read on a cartoon in the bathroom at my chiropractor. But it was like, it stuck with me for years. And there's this picture of a little girl, and it says, there once was a girl who went looking for a dime, came across a quarter, and decided to settle for more. And so often we, get attached to where we were going and what we were looking for. And then when things aren't going the way we want, or there's upsets or breakdowns, we lose, we feel like we're losing things, or we're clinging to what we were going after. But when we have a clear vision, looking for that dime, we're still moving towards it. Also, often the circumstances changing reveal even bigger and better possibilities if we're open to that and we're looking for it. And so I actually, even though I'm totally present to the pain and challenges that COVID has caused the world, like every change does, in that same exact moment, there's also new opportunities for the same exact people it's causing harm to. Different people are in different positions to leverage that possibility based on their circumstances and work leading up to that point. But it is always a possibility that you're going to face an upset. So it is always a wise investment to develop yourself as a more effective agent in those times of change, both for your own benefit and, given this is leadership training, for the benefit of others and benefit of the world. And when an individual sees a circumstance that's overwhelming and then rises to the occasion, overcomes it, and creates magic, and not only is it benefit to them, but the other people around them who see it are inspired to do similar things, right? So like, our own leadership of our own lives inspires other people to take themselves on too, because they're like, oh, I see something's possible. You don't have to be buried by this. You can actually get out in front of it, and maybe I'll do that too. So it's really leading by example, as well as creating your own benefits, right? Like, because this has been a boon to me in many ways. And I've had my own struggles and challenges, but that's just life as ever. But we've been able to use the pandemic as an opportunity to really learn new skills and to open up new possibilities, both as a company with Next Level and personally. I've adopted some new hobbies. I took up partner dancing and some other things during this time. So it's like, well, as long as I can't do the things that I used to do, but new things are available now, and that's fun.
That is fun. And one other thing is, when we are talking about being a leader in life and adapting to change, and yes, many people think about businesses and being in a career, a job, and what is coming up to me at this moment is the change, for example, with COVID, that schools are not open. They were not open for months, at least, you know, in many countries. And this leadership distinction skill set applies so much at home as parents, that you are a parent, I'm a parent, that, you know, instead of feeling like, okay, you know, I have to work, I have lots of things, and I have children to homeschool now, or distance school, which, you know, it's called differently. So instead of really feeling, oh my goodness, you know, this is not good, and I'm like, I don't have much solutions. This applies there so powerfully to shift the environment at home and actually create a blessing and opportunity in the relationship with children, in the relationships at home with our partners, and be an example, as you said as well, to inspire and empower other parents that, you know, there are possibilities, and actually there are amazing things in this experience. So I want to emphasize this, because leadership is not only out there in, you know, in businesses or leading teams or leading big communities. Leadership is at home in our relationships and how we respond to changes in that relationships as well. It really came to me to mention at this moment, Chris. Yeah.
No, I hear you and I feel you. I mean, I'll say, I know that you and Bosch have reinvented your lives based on why not, right? Couldn't do what you were doing, you might as well move to the beach. And yes, we've reinvented our lives here. Like, we turned everything upside down, and with our son Nico, we created a homeschooling program that we designed ourselves, and we've redesigned our entire lives around this. And that took a lot of work, and it took a lot of creativity and a lot of uncertainty. But it has also been exciting and interesting and fun. And some people are like, well, you have, you know, might think, well, you can do that. You know, you're in a position to have that. And the truth is, I am, because of my mindset, not because of any circumstance out of me. There's no point in time when you don't have unlimited freedom with your mind. And it doesn't matter where you've been or what your circumstances, you can use your mind to create actions, to create a way of being that can lead to new results. And there's like no circumstance so low that this isn't the case. This isn't to say that you're going to be able to, you know, like everyone has a different starting spot. But as soon as you realize that if you really want to change, this is the fundamental concept of transformation, is if you want to change anything out there in your life, the work is in here. And the work is in here, because you're the tool that creates it. And our lives are the emergent property of all of our habits, of the accumulation of all the things we do day after day, the little things that make up the patterns of our lives. So if we really want to change the overall experience of our lives, we have to change all those little habits, all those little patterns, and those come from the inside out. And so in transformation, like, we look inside, like, what can I change in here and in my mindset, and how that's driving my experience and driving my actions to lead to my life. And there's no point where it's too late to start working on your mindset to create a different reality. And the instant you started, things change much faster than you imagine is possible. Much faster, because people have been trying so hard to fix things or make things different by working out there instead of in here, that it seems like things are really hard. But most of the time, the difficulty is not based on the difficulty inherent in whatever it is you're trying to do. It's the overcoming your own limitations and overcoming your own beliefs. So if you focus your energy in the right spot, it turns out it doesn't take that much energy, right? Like, if you're trying to fill the hole over here, but you're dropping the dirt over here, it doesn't matter how much dirt you're going to fill, you know, don't care, it's never going to fill up that hole. But if you're focused in the right direction, it doesn't take that long. And we see over and over in this work, people make little adjustments. Like, for me, biggest adjustment in my marriage, right? Like, I did this work in my marriage when I came in all honesty, was not in a great spot. You know, we've been married, you know, at that time, 4 years, and we were in a real struggle. And I was very clear, you know, where the issue in our marriage was lying at that time, which was like in my wife, right? Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then I went to these trainings for the first time, and one of the first things you start, you know, a quote on the wall: "I'm the sole uncontested author of my life." And when the trainer started talking about that, and we went through exercises to reveal that, I was like, holy crap, My wife's not the problem. I'm the problem. And I called her up and let her know. And she's like, yes, now you've got it. No, in all honesty, it's like, I'm sorry, I get it. It's not even that she didn't have a role in it, but there's nothing you can do about someone else. And the amazing thing is the instant I started to shift, she started to shift, because it takes two to tango, right? It's an equation. 1 + 1 = 2. Well, you change one of those numbers, you change the outcome. So you change yourself, you change the relationship, the whole thing changes. And my taking responsibility also allowed her to take responsibility, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't like pointing fingers anymore. It's like, I take my responsibility. I see how I created these issues. Allows her to be like, okay, well, I see how I created these issues, and suddenly things started to change. Suddenly, like quickly. Mm-hmm. And after years of struggle, it turned a corner very rapidly. This isn't to say that it's not still a work in progress. Marriage is always a work in progress. Marriage is, and like parenting, like entrepreneurship are things that you never are out of the weeds. You're always got to be putting energy there and attention there for it to work. But overall, for it to work, the work is in here, not trying to fix your partner. And this turns out to be the exact same thing with my business. My business was never as healthy as I thought it should be or could be leading up to that. My invention company, because that's my day job, is inventing consumer products. And it turned around very quickly based on just a couple tweaks to my mindset. So a little bit can go an incredibly long way, because sometimes, if you're just off the mark by a little bit, a couple degrees, and your arrow won't hit the target. So just a little bit of true up can make a huge difference in your level of success, your level of happiness, and your ability to navigate change, right? Like, a lot of people have all the tools they need, but for a little tweak.
Yes.
A little mindset tweak. Like, maybe they're overly attached to the past, or they're overly attached to the way things were, and so they're not seeing an incredible possibility sitting right in front of them if they just opened their eyes and saw possibility instead of what they've lost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Powerful. Thank you, Chris. Yes, powerful. So that is why we see incredible results in this work of leadership, right? Because the transformation is from inside out. And it shows up in results so powerfully. And I so relate to what you said. Before I thought that, I had to work so hard. I had to have so many degrees, which I had quite a few from, very, very credible universities and business schools, that I had like titles. And I think many people see it that way, life that way. When we do all of those things, when we have all of those things, then we can be a leader, right? So that is the biggest difference between what is out there available in terms of leadership or personal development, so many different courses and trainings, and this work, transformational leadership, emotional intelligence, and transformational leadership. In 4 months, I could create years and years of study at business school and university, and that's what happened. So yeah, thank you for sharing. And actually, that just felt so quick, but we have been talking for, I think, over 15 minutes already, Chris. So is there anything that you want to add before we wrap up, like in a minute?
Well, yeah, I mean, my number one lesson that I would leave with anyone, I'd start with and end with, and everyone, is play all in, right? Like, whatever you're doing, to go for it with all yourself. Don't hold back, including navigating change and leadership in your life. The number one contribution to creating a life worth living, as you said at the beginning of our talk, is like living your life like it matters. Like, this is your one shot, not the dress rehearsal, not the practice. Play your life like this is it, and go for it, because you're not going to get a second chance, and you don't want to have any regrets. So that's the thing. Play all in, people. This is your shot. Don't miss your shot. Worth it. And it's so much more fun when you're playing hard. If you give it the half-hearted effort, you get the half-hearted result, which is an F, right? But if you go all in, you get the A, and it's like, life can be so much fun. You can squeeze an incredible amount of life into life if you're playing hard. So play hard.
Yes, so play all in and play all in. And I invite our audience to truly connect with what changes they are going through. So what are the changes that you are going through at this moment in your relationships, in your money situation, in your health, in your career? And how are you experiencing the change? And my invitation is to get in touch with me and Chris. Chris is in Ohio, USA. I'm my Institute of Global Leadership is based in the UK, even though I'm on a beach in Turkey at the moment. And we have classes, leadership classes. As I said, IGL's first class, Glow 1, is starting with Chris on 13th of October. So get in touch because this is a life-changing experience and you get one shot. So use it now. Life is now. My email address is evrim@instituteofgloballeadership.com, or you can go to the website, instituteofgloballeadership.com. If you are seeing it on Facebook, just send me a message. That's simple. And Chris, do you want to quickly say your contact details?
Sure. I'm Chris at Next Level Trainings with an S at the end, nextleveltrainings.com, also nextleveltrainings.com. If you want to check out our website, we're in Columbus, Ohio, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, actually. And one last thing I want everyone to know is if you have any thoughts that maybe an online experience wouldn't be as powerful as or as effective as an in-person experience, we've done many of these now in the last few months. And what I want you to do, there's in no way lesser impact. It's just as powerful. Yes, it's different. It's way more convenient, and it is just as powerful, really.
It is. So absolutely.
Don't hesitate. Life is now. This work is, and also the other thing, you may think, oh man, 2 days or whatever, 3 days sitting on Zoom, it flies by. We're so engaged. You're interacting with people. It is extremely entertaining as well as ridiculously powerful. And so I'd love to see you there and at Glow 1. Looking forward, Evrim. Thank you again for the opportunity. It's an honor to be there at the inauguration of your center. I'm honored to be there. Look forward to seeing what we create together.
Yes, I look forward to seeing you and seeing you there as well, our audience. All right, okay. Thank you, Chris. And thank you, everyone. So stay tuned in for the next interview. Bye.